The Campbell County Public Library director is out of a job after months of debate over sexually graphic books. A fifth-generation sheep rancher is looking to agritourism to keep the family business operational, and Hot Springs County Schools are honoring a long-term employee by renaming a building after him. Bringing you these stories and more from Wyoming's largest news organization, I'm Wendy Kaur for Cowboy State Daily. The Campbell County Public Library Board fired its library director of 11 years in a 4-1 vote on Friday after months of tension over sexually graphic books in the library's children's and teens sections. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that the board formulated a new policy last month prompting librarians like Director Terry Leslie to weed out books from the children's sections based on obscenity.
Leslie said that she wanted to stick to the legal definition of obscenity, which is very tenuous. It's based upon current community standards. And so it created this impasse where the board was frustrated and Leslie was apprehensive about creating a First Amendment issue.
Leslie had been working in the Campbell County Library system for 27 years, 11 of them as director. Some ranchers on the Montana prairie are coming to terms with sharing the range with some fairly unpredictable neighbors. Ranchers like Lisa Schmidt of Conrad, Montana, whose first opinions of grizzly bears were formed after one bear attacked and killed a number of sheep on their ranch. But now she told Cowboy State Daily she'd like to see them continue to reclaim their home on the range. Although she said, quote, "I really don't want them on my yard and I don't want them killing my livestock," end quote. Schmidt said she's come to realize that grizzlies, like people, have different personalities, and she said people need to make adjustments such as keeping garbage secure and discouraging bears from raiding commercial beehives. A fifth-generation sheep rancher near Kemmerer is struggling to find a way to continue her way of life. Marie McLaren told Cowboy State Daily's Renee Jean that for the last 200 years, her family has raised sheep on the green hills of southwest Wyoming. But rising costs and this year's harsh winter have her scrambling to come up with ways to keep the family business going.
There was 4 feet of snow where they normally graze the animals. They lost probably 7 to 10% of their herd versus a more usual 1 to 2%. And then lamb prices, lately they're not as good as they had been, yet fuel continues to rise.
Jean said McLaren loves her ranch, her sheep, and her lifestyle, so she's expanding her operation to include agritourism, direct sales of meat, and other out-of-the-box ideas to continue her family's legacy. Most of the men riding bulls at Cheyenne Frontier Days this week weren't born when Lane Frost died, but they all owe him and know they're safer in the arena because of what happened at Cheyenne 34 years ago. On July 30th, 1989, a cool, rainy day, Frost rode taking care of business, scoring an 85, but he had a poor dismount that put him in front of the bull, which stepped on his chaps and hooked the young cowboy with a horn to the ribs. After the blow, Frost rose from the arena dirt, took a few steps, and motioned to the sidelines that he was hurt before he collapsed face down. Frost had broken ribs that tore through his heart. The doctor who treated him and experienced rodeo cowboys all agree that a safety vest might have prevented Frost's injury from being fatal, and in the years since, the protective gear has kept other cowboys from severe injury. And Joe Arnold isn't just another school custodian quietly going about the business of keeping the facilities tidy. Joe Arnold has become such a fixture in the lives of students and staff that Hot Springs County School District No. 1 is naming their administration building after him. Cowboy State Daily's Andrew Rossi said Arnold has spent nearly 4 decades supporting students anonymously and behind the scenes, providing lunch money and field trip fees, and sometimes even more.
He started setting aside money for a young girl in 4th grade when she lost her twin sister unexpectedly. So when she graduated from high school, Joe had a college fund for her all ready to go with the money he had been putting away bit by bit since she was in 4th grade.
Rossi said Arnold has made an immense difference in the lives of countless Thermopolis students. And that's today's news. You can read about all of these stories and more on CowboyStateDaily.com, Wyoming's largest and most read news source. I'm Wendy Kaur for Cowboy State Daily.